win the seat of the retiring Toddy Puller. Overwhelming favorite, kind of like the same odds that we give Rob Bell to be the nominee of the Republican Party for Attorney General in 2017. 1-5, they're like secretariat odds in the Triple Crown. Scott, how are you?
I'm great, John. It's good to be back out of Richmond and back home.
Oh, so much for all of us. Now, you were very critical of the ethics deal that went down at the final minute. Can you help our audience understand why?
Well, I had some process objections, and then I also had some substance objections. First of all, in the process, any time that somebody asks me to debate and vote on a bill when the thing is still warm when it's put on my desk, it really it gives me heartburn. I try not to practice law like that. It's a great way to commit malpractice. Mm-hmm. And, that thing, we literally were given bills straight out of the copier. The 134 of us who went on the conference committee had about maybe 20 minutes to read it before we got to debate it. The debate lasted about a third as long as our debate on boating safety, and it was cut off with a bunch of people in the queue. And I just sort of felt like the entire process by which that bill popped out was not very conducive to sunshine or public input at the end of the day. But, the biggest flaw with it is that even though we lowered the gift cap to $100, apparently the House insisted on lifting the aggregate cap on gifts so you can take an unlimited amount of sub-$100 gifts from any single person, and you're not capped out at $250 like you were before, which to me is kind of a step backwards from what we had before. That to me is the biggest flaw. There's some others. Or actually, I should say it's the biggest flaw with what was changed. The lack of an independent ethics commission is a problem. The lack of mandatory audits is a problem. The lack of a subpoena power with the commission to investigate is a problem. I think it's sort of a toothless, toothless lion. So.
Yeah, yes, it is. I mean, it is a toothless tiger, and I think taking the aggregate portion of it out. So, again, Lieutenant Governor Bill Bolling, we just had on, he had the same complaint. We all have it. Basically, right now, Lobbyist A, if I was a House of Representatives member, could give me a gift worth $99 for 365 days. So if you add that up, it's $36,500 instead of $250 I could get from the same lobbyist. I don't think that makes any sense. The other thing is, to me, Delegate, anything that is 56 pages, I'm immediately wary of. We were expecting something that said, these are the 5 rules, that's it, stick by these or else bad things happen. This thing has got, I couldn't even get past the page 9. It goes on and on and on. And at the end of the day, nobody can do anything anyway. So I'm not sure what it all means, because there's no independent investigatory body. So you're kind of self-policing anyway, right?
Yeah, that's exactly right. We have an entity that's there that'll be good at giving us answers to questions if we have them. It'll help to clarify what the rules are once we start asking questions. But in terms of the actual possibility of getting caught for an ethics violation or for a campaign finance violation, the odds are probably better to get audited by the federal government than ever get caught for doing any of this. Audited by the federal government for taxes or something. Just because there's no mandatory audit.
Okay, let's move on from that, because that's, maybe in 2016 you guys will take another stab at it. But I really thought 2015 was going to be the time you got real ethics reform in Virginia with everything that's gone on with the McDonald's and Phil Hamilton and everything else. Every public survey that's been taken in the state says it has to get tightened up, and I'm not sure that was anything done that was meaningful. I want to get to there was a leaked memo, as you know, by your caucus before the General Assembly started that said, we want to create dilemmas for Republicans. That memo was disputed. Now you look back on the 6-week session, you guys didn't really wreak any havoc. You kind of went about your business working on the things that you thought you should work on. So was that memo all just BS or what?
Well, John, first of all, I thought we had a pretty good session, and there's a lot of stuff that happens that doesn't get a lot of press. But to give you an example, there was a bill on the floor that to basically prohibit any kind of a wage floor in procurement transactions. So local governments couldn't mandate a minimum wage on a government contract. We flipped that around and got a vote on whether or not the governments had to mandate a minimum wage on a contract, and I think virtually every Republican voted against the 10-10 minimum wage, which from our point of view is it's a very popular initiative when you look at the polling on it, and it got virtually no press. We also got some interesting votes in debate, which got zero press on prohibiting people who are stalkers, drug dealers, and drug users and mentally ill people from getting concealed weapon permits. Again, got virtually no press. We had some votes on prohibiting localities from charging for full-day kindergarten and prohibiting from charging for children riding the bus to school, something which is under active discussion in some localities. Got zero press. We had some opportunities where we put them in dilemmas, but the press didn't really pick up on it. Those floor debates can get pretty dry sometimes. So, I thought we had a good session. The Republicans leaked out a memo of their own, and I didn't think they had much success pushing their kitchen table themes either. Their kitchen table themes only include certain families and not all Virginia.
All right, Scott Surovell, we're out of time. We'll have you back next week. I want to thank Scott Surovell for being with us. By the way, he's a candidate for state senate. Scott, thanks for being with us.